compared to this King of the Ring in '96 to today, 2024?
Man, I don't know, and it's so easy. The tournament is something that books itself. When you have a tournament, you could get rid of the career accolades because it's win and go home, and anybody can get lucky for one night. So you really don't need a story. You can also have a disqualification. You can have a double count out finish if you need to angle the character that you want to push through. But even a perfect example, I'm glad you showed this. How many of you guys remember? I'm gonna go back a little bit. I'm gonna go back. But WrestleMania 4, when we had to crown a new world champion, we did it in a tournament style, and we crowned the Macho Man in that champion. That's how you run a tournament. You don't break the tournament up. All right, at least if you're gonna have a qualifying matches, then you qualify to get on the pay-per-view for the tournament. You don't qualify, then have another match in the semifinals on a SmackDown or a Raw, and then you qualify to get in the finals, and then we have one match. We have the finals on this pay-per-view show, but we named the show King and Queen of the Ring, where we only have the finals, and then we have a bunch of other mixed matches. That's crap.
Yeah, I agree. It is. It's terrible. It's definitely terrible. I'm not a fan of it. Like I said before, I said again, not a fan of it. I'm not a fan by any means. And they're getting away from the old nostalgia way of running a tournament and properly having something in place when someone wins. Whoever the winner is, we knew that they were destined to do something. But you know what, good bread. You did say a good point. Um, you did say a good point about the whole thing. You had a good point talking about the King of the Ring '96, and also you talked about the whole WrestleMania for the bracket. If people, I don't think people remember that. That was a very good tournament. What do you
It was a
remember most?
very good tournament. Remember, Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan fought in the first round. That's how we eliminated them. And then Macho went on. Million Dollar Man also bought a bye to the next round. Like, it was very creative. Like, and it told its own story. It that you know what? Look at the Mae Young Classic. Let's go back to the original Mae Young Classic. That was in 2 nights. That wasn't broke
Yeah,
down
but
into several shows. Now all of a sudden, even the original, let's go back to the original Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. That was 2 nights. It wasn't broke down into multiple twos of shows. Like, no. They just recently start doing that now. Everything gotta be like separated, and it don't work like that. You lose the whole concept of a tournament. Because now you don't have a Cinderella. You know what I mean? The whole purpose of a tournament is to see if your top seed can get outed by your Cinderella, your bottom seed. That's what makes the tournament.
I think what you're talking about this tournament here. But if you don't know what he's talking about, this is the WrestleMania 4 tournament bracket, similar to the 1996 bracket. That's the bracket he's talking about where Hogan and Andre was in the first round. That's the bracket that Goodbrett's talking about, if that makes sense.
Facts. And you see,
Look how that changed.
back in those days, Saturday Superstars. That's when they had matches on Saturday Superstars to qualify for that tournament. They didn't have the qualifying tournament matches. They didn't have round one on Superstars. No, they had qualifying matches so that you can qualify to get into round one, which is at the PLE, which was at WrestleMania 4. And they had this, remember that this tournament came about because of the twin referee. Remember when Million Dollar Man thought he was gonna buy the title from
Yeah, you're
Andre,
right.
and then
Right.
Hefner and the twin referee. So then Jack Tunney stepped in and he said, "Yo, nobody's the champion. We're gonna crown a champion at WrestleMania."
Jack Tunney. I
Yes,
remember. I read about that. Jack Tunney was the one.
and this
I remember
happened in one night, guys. This happened in one night.
one day.
In fact, this was the start of the two Trump Plaza WrestleManias. Till this day, WrestleMania has never been in two back-to-back same venues, except for WrestleMania 4 and 5, which was at Trump Plaza in Atlantic City, New Jersey. This was part of that. This was the first part of that Trump Plaza.
That is something that we need to go back to. I don't know why they're doing that. And then, like you said, it was all in one night. It was all in one night. I don't know why they're not doing that, but it definitely helped out a lot of individuals, and it helped out the whole thing. And a lot of people admire how they was doing things back then, even back then. And I don't know why they wouldn't go back to that. That just blows my mind. See, the tournaments too, they build people, and they show what a potential champion they can be, if not right now, in the near future. It definitely shows that, and I think they need to go back to doing that, because if they don't, it's going to not only hurt the character, it'll hurt the whole tournament. The tournament will be in ruins. You know what I'm saying? It will be in ruins, and that's what I believe that they're doing with this one. I know that they're high off the WrestleMania and Backlash now, but I think this will be a dud compared to those two. That's my personal opinion on that. The way they're doing that, I don't think it's going to really help anything for that matter. I mean,
You're right
honestly,
though,
and then
Katie.
yeah,
TBK, you are absolutely right. Because remember, when you break it up, you lose like Bret Hart, for example. Bret Hart, guys, was a king of the ring. Same night. When you win this tournament, that means you defeated 3 people in one night. So it gives more lust, it gives more law and the law to the winner. It like he really went through a gauntlet. It's like a gauntlet match. It's like they traded in
yeah,
tournaments now for this gauntlet match. But it's to do the same thing. It's to show the winner went through a bunch of challenges and came out
yep,
unscathed.
yep,
That's what the
winning
tournament
match.
does. Right. But when
And
you
then
break it up, you don't get that concept.
one thing you said too, you said even if you don't go back that far to the WrestleMania 4 back in 1988, you said recent memory with the Mae Young Classic, and you're talking about this bracket here. Look how this helped many women. Look at this. I mean, if you remember that this was a great thing as well. This definitely helped a lot of, it was a 2-night thing, but it has some value. It definitely it made it pure. If you remember that was a new. And look, all these women that are highlights. Some of them we know today. That's Bianca Belair, Toni Storm, Kyrie Zane. Then you got Lacey Evans in the left, and then you got Mercedes Martinez over there. Look how that showcased and helped so many women. That term was even ran right. If you look at that bracket was perfect, and it was too nice, and it still has some type of structure. So
Absolutely, TBK. I even Piper Nevins you can add on that list. That's where I caught notice of Piper Nevins dewdrop in this tournament right here. Bianca Belair is another one. I said, wow, who is that with the long braid? But it was all in the same night, guys. It was the same. Tony Storm, Tegan Knox. They all come from this tournament right here, guys.
yeah, I think now yeah, a lot of these girls were in the tournament. I mean, we had Candice LeRae was in this tournament. Mia Yim, Shayna Baszler. You had her. You had Dakota Kai. A lot of good girls. Tessa Blanchard. People remember Tessa Blanchard was in this too. The history proves that. So we need to get back to doing things at least this way. This way needs to get back to doing things. And I don't know if WWE is ever going to go back to that status quo, as they call it. So this is how things should go down. At least in my mind, it should be. But WWE has their own agenda. where they want to do things. But this would definitely help if you move back to either one of these terms, this style, that style, or even King of the Ring style. One of these styles. Do not ruin all that history of what has been built by WWE to go down to what we know as this, what we know as that. We don't want to see this. This is nothing like the past. This is present, but it's not good present. It's a bad present. We don't want to see that. We want to see more of classic stuff like this, not so much like this. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm just not a fan of it.
That's a fact. In fact, the only championship match ever at a King of the Ring, and I wasn't a fan of it then, was that Hulk Hogan versus Yokozuna match, and they wanted to get the title off of Hogan. So that's the reason why they made it. They made that the marquee matchup along with the King of the Ring. But yeah, that was the King of the Ring where the photographer jumped on the apron and hit Hogan with the fireball.
I remember. Good old classic times. But this it's ridiculous. This is not how you run a big PLE tournament, especially when WWE's trying, like Triple H said in an interview with Pat McAfee, WWE's competing with WWE. Well, Night of Champions last year was better than this. And like I said, if you're going to build, and that's where you guys are going, you have not steered away from the King of the Night of Champions. Why do we have two championship matches already advertised? The first night of King of the and Queen of the Ring. Why is that advertised? Because it's like a Night of Champions thing. That's the thing I'm getting when I see this. This is Night of Champions all over again. It's like you try to combine it with King and Queen of the Ring, and when you do that, that is a fail in my book. And then you get boosts like that. Yeah, I'm not feeling that at all. And that's what we're getting with that. You don't need to do a King and Queen of Ring that way. This is not a real King and Queen. This is not a Champions / King and Queen of Ring. Let's just call it what it is. It should be called King and Queen Night of Champions, Night of Champion of the Ring. You might combine all the names together, call PLE out of that. If you're gonna run it that way, this is not King, because I remember at this King of the Ring, and I'll show it once again. There was no championship matches like that, and they weren't heavily advertised. If they were, they weren't heavily advertised. They was mainly focused was King of the Ring. It wasn't so much a championship bout match that we was having. It was about crowning a brand new King of the Ring in a tournament that was very, very natural. I don't see that here. That's
exactly.
why I don't see it.
You give your undercard people a chance to be in the main event spot. That's what it is. You don't need, the tournament sells itself. You don't need a championship match. Your king, the king crowning is your championship match. Like the crown is the championship. You do not need it. But
now, don't get me wrong. They had the Intercontinental Championship match. Ahmed Johnson was the Intercontinental Champion, and Shawn Michaels was the WWE Champion. They had the matches, but they wasn't heavily advertised. You barely even noticed it. When we think of King of the Ring 1996, we don't think of Shawn Michaels, the WWE Champion, or Ahmed Johnson, Intercontinental Champion. And all the other matches, we thought mainly about this tournament. And I believe this tournament